The film begins in Afghanistan, showing combat action between American special forces against the Taliban forces. Most of the American military troops were killed in this unexpected battle, while the colonel named Tom Mason was shot in the leg, and a soldier named Jack tried to save Tom. In the midst of an increasingly fierce battle, at the same time a helicopter for assistance arrived. The scene changes 5 years later. It looks like Jack is still haunted by the trauma caused by the battle, but now he has withdrawn from the military world and switched professions to become a mechanic and works in a workshop owned by his uncle named Earl. After work, Jack went straight home and met his wife and children named Charlie and Susan. Now that Jack has financial problems, their house is being confiscated by the bank. But Jack reassured Susan not to worry, because he would soon solve the problem. The next day, Jack went to work as usual. But that morning, a group of gangsters led by a man named Fresh came to the workshop to collect money from Earl. There, they also tried to stab Jack, but Jack refused and chased them all away, so a fight broke out.
My bullet's faster.
Jack immediately stopped the fight, because Fresh threatened him with a gun. Before leaving, Fresh threatens Jack if Jack will regret looking into trouble with them. After that, Earl came and explained the matter. Turns out, before he built the workshop, he was a former gangster who happened to have a problem with a gangster group led by Fresh. Arriving at the house, Jack saw Fresh had just come out of his house. Seeing that, Jack rushed in and found his wife and child dead. That night, Jack, who still looks sad, is interrogated by the police whether he knows the perpetrator, but Jack does not answer and immediately leaves. The police then ordered his men to follow Jack. As it turns out, Jack intends to find Fresh's whereabouts for revenge. After a night on the streets, Jack finally found Fresh's car parked at a nightclub. He immediately entered carrying a gun and immediately slaughtered Fresh and all his men.
Take it easy.
As a result of his actions, Jack was eventually imprisoned. 5 months passed. Jack still can't forget the death of his wife and children. That day, Jack was visited by Colonel Tom, his former military leader. Tom intends to seek the help of a lawyer to get Jack out of prison. He did this to repay the favor because Jack had saved him on the battlefield. But Jack refuses Tom's help, saying that he has considered the prison as his new home. Even though he was released, out there he had no one else. That night Jack was visited again by a man named Ramsey. Ramsey also wants to offer help, but Jack again refuses. Then in the middle of the night, while he was sleeping, Jack was kidnapped by 2 soldiers in black uniforms, and it turned out that it was all Ramsey's doing. Ramsey is very impressed with Jack's background, who is a former Special Forces officer who is normally retired, and he manages to kill a group of gangsters alone. Turns out, Ramsey is the leader of a secret organization called Section 8. And Ramsey intends to recruit Jack as a member. After being convinced by Ramsey for some time, Jack finally agreed. The next day, Jack was immediately taken to a Section 8 building. There, Ramsey introduced Jack to the other members. Jack will be given a new identity, house, vehicle, and other necessities. Ramsey then explained that the Section 8 was specially formed by the government in secret, although it was not recorded in the government files, but this organization was fully facilitated by the state. Their mission is mostly to massacre mafia or high-class criminals who are above the law, including corrupt officials. To be able to join Section 8, Jack must be tested first by seniors. They are named Liza, Brown, Ricky, and Roy. There, Brown feels that Jack is not ready to become a member of Section 8, because he still can't forget his past and is hesitant to attack. But Liza tries to defend Jack, and says that they all used to be the same as Jack when they were first recruited. Long story short, Jack finally got his first mission, which was to snatch the schematic file from a man named Castillo. Castillo is a defense contractor who earns money from illegally selling state-owned weapons. But this time, Castillo plans to sell a weapons-making scheme to a Russian mafia chief, and the transaction will take place in Mexico. To approach Castillo is not an easy thing, because he is escorted very tightly by dozens of heavily armed troops. Then Jack asked, after the scheme was obtained, what would happen to Castillo? Liza replies, of course Castillo must be killed. Because the real mission of Section 8 members is to kill. Long story short, Liza and Jack finally arrived in Mexico. The two of them were already at the place where the transaction would take place. Liza told Jack to act alone. There, Joni, the head of the Russian mafia, seemed annoyed with Castillo because his arrival from Russia was actually carried out at a garbage dump. Plus, Castillo seemed to talk a lot. Without further ado, Johnny immediately asked for the scheme because he wanted to leave that place immediately. In the middle of the conversation, suddenly a gunshot was heard. Johnny thought that Castillo had set him up so that the situation escalated and the two groups shot each other. After most of the two troops died, Jack went forward and immediately killed Johnny and his remaining troops. Next, he approaches the dying Castillo and forces Castillo to give up his scheme. But Castillo cursed Jack, and Jack shot him straight away. After getting the file, Jack immediately left because the mission had been completed. Ramsey is annoyed that Jack left two eyewitnesses behind when he retrieved the file. Jack insists that he will not kill two innocent girls. Next, Ramsey assigns a best assassin named Leonard. Leonard is assigned to kill a corrupt official and owner of an illegal gambling establishment. After successfully killing the official, Leonard was attacked by several guards there, but Leonard easily managed to escape from there.
Move. Okay.
Back to Jack, who just got to his new very luxurious house. The house was provided by the organization's Section 8. There is a photo of Jack's time serving in Afghanistan. Instantly, he thought of Colonel Tom, where at that time only Jack and Colonel Tom survived the mission, while the other troops died on the spot. At night, Jack and Liza drink at a bar. There, Liza told Jack that she had liked Jack since the first time she met. But it seems that Jack still can't forget his wife. The next day, Ramsey again assigned his members to retrieve files belonging to a senator suspected of being involved in corruption and several other crimes. Long story short, Jack and his team started to move. The target was seen giving a speech to his supporters and being escorted by his armed bodyguard. Realizing the security room had been breached, bodyguard immediately secured the senator and took him away from there. Liza manages to download the file, while Jack tries to catch up to the car carrying the senator. After successfully stopping the car, the senator pleads with Jack not to kill him by saying that he has children and a wife. It made Jack hesitate to kill him. But from a distance, Jack's team immediately shot the senator until died. In the evening, Ramsey assigns his troops to kill Jack at his house. Luckily, Jack was aware of their presence and he immediately fled from there. Jack hides in Colonel Tom's house and explains that he is now a fugitive from the Section 8 organization because Ramsey considers Jack useless to his organization. Because on the first mission, Jack had made the mistake of leading two living witnesses. And on the second mission, Jack again made the mistake of hesitating to kill his main target. Tom explained that the Section 8 was not an organization under the auspices of the government. Instead, the organization was a long-standing enemy of the government by the FBI and CIA. At the end of the chat, Jack asked Tom for money and weapons. On the other hand, Ramsey seems to be starting to worry if Jack will reveal the secrets of his organization because Jack is still alive. Later, Ramsey reassigned Leonard to kill Jack. On his escape, Jack accidentally met his son's schoolmate. At the same time, Leonard was watching from a distance. There, the boy said that he had seen Fresh several times chatting with some people dressed in black. Here, Jack begins to suspect that the culprit behind his son's murder is Ramsey. Because the characteristics of the person mentioned by his son's friend was the same as the member of the Ramsey squad assigned to kill him. Then from a distance, Leonard suddenly shot at Jack. And the sound of the gunfire provoked the arrival of the police force. But easily Leonard was able to finish off all the police. Meanwhile, Jack managed to escape from that place. Leonard's failure to kill Jack upsets Ramsey. Likewise with Leonard, as this was the first time he had failed to kill his target. It turned out that Jack was hiding at Earl's place. Not long after, the Section 8 troops came to attack. But, this time Jack didn't fight alone. Earl helped him so that the shootout was unavoidable.
Well back, now! You shoot like a bitch! Oh no! I don't care!
Running out of bullets, Brown challenges Jack to a fight with his bare hands.
Come on.
Before almost succeeding in killing Jack, Liza actually shoots Brown from behind. Then, Liza took Jack to hide somewhere because Earl's place was no longer safe. After arriving at the hiding place, Jack was suddenly hit until he was unconscious. When he woke up, Jack was in front of Ramsey tied up. Liza's help turned out to be just a trap. Jack asks Ramsey why he didn't kill him right away, and Ramsey replies there will be a surprise for Jack. And the surprise turned out, Tom had been working with Ramsey and Tom, who suggested that Ramsey recruit Jack because he felt Jack had wasted his skills as the best military just to become an auto repair mechanic. But unexpectedly, Ramsey actually ordered several gangsters to kill Jack's family. Ramsey thought that after Jack's family was killed, Jack would not hesitate to kill anyone. But Ramsey's guess turned out to be wrong. In fact, Jack still has a sense of humanity. After that, Tom, Ramsey and Liza left the room. The three of them would split the money they got from selling the senator's schemes and secret files. Ramsey suggests that Jack be killed immediately, because Jack was just a burden to them. After that, Tom went back into Jack's room and untied him. Turns out, Tom is on a mission assigned by the government to capture Ramsey, and with Colonel Tom's help, Ramsey can easily get Jack out of prison. After listening to Tom's explanation, Jack was willing to help him. Then suddenly the fire bell in Jack's room rang and provoked the whole army into it. Ramsey's troops were killed off by Tom and Jack one by one. Meanwhile, Ramsey and Liza hide. Ramsey made an offer to Jack to take his money that was on the table, which amounted to $3 million. After taking the money, Jack could go far and be a free man forever. But the offer did not make Jack the least bit interested, because his main mission now is to kill Ramsey, the person who had killed his beloved wife and children. Unfortunately, Liza managed to shoot Tom. Before he died, Tom had apologized to Jack because he felt indirectly involved in the death of Jack's wife and children. When Jack was off guard, Liza appeared, pointing a gun. Luckily, there were no bullets in Liza's gun, so in the end, Liza died in Jack's hands. Meanwhile, Ramsey managed to escape with his $3 million and Jack chased after him. He manages to shoot Ramsey's car tire, then he approaches Ramsey and prepares to shoot him. However, Ramsey belittles Jack by saying that Jack will not be able to kill him, because Jack has doubts and that is your weakness, Ramsey said. But without hesitation, Jack shot Ramsey to death on the spot. After that, Jack met an attorney general named Martin, the person who had given Tom a mission. Martin conveys a thank you from the government for helping Jack kill Ramsey. Martin explains who Ramsey really is. Previously, Ramsey was an FBI agent who was dishonorably expelled from the Bureau, and since then Ramsey has recruited ex-militaries to join Section 8, an illegal organization he formed to extort corruption officials, to sell dirty government information. Then the government assigned Colonel Tom to hunt down Ramsey. Martin said there are still people like Ramsey out there, and the country needs someone like Jack to track them all down. In return, the life sentence received by Jack will be removed. Jack refuses the offer because for him there is nothing more he can fight for because his revenge has been avenged. Before leaving, Martin gave him his business card, because he was sure Jack would change his mind and accept the offer one day. After that, Jack returned to his house and it turned out that Leonard was already waiting for him to complete the mission from Ramsey. Leonard said Ramsey was dead, but his reputation as the best assassin must live on. Jack was beaten badly by Leonard. Luckily, Jack managed to grab his gun that fell on the floor and in the end, he managed to kill Leonard. At the end of the movie, Jack is seen on a plane while calling Martin. Jack finally accepts the offer given by the government and the movie is finished.